Hey guys, Demo here, giving a quick raid plan guide and video of Heroic and Mythic Plexus Sentinel within the Manaforge Omega raid. I'll be going over the raid plan, describing a preferred strategy, and then going into a video from testing. Within Mythic testing for this boss, when it was completed today, we now have a better idea of how this will play out when it goes live to the servers. Do note that this is just based on the PTR testing, so anything could change, but let's get right into it. So mechanics for everybody on this fight. It'll be a light spread around the boss, that you'll be dodging random circles. You'll be using your Reshi wraps for the intermission to dodge a big arcane wall. And then one question I have about the testing was that the journal says that this powered automaton is supposed to be like AoE damage within 20 yards of some players. There was taking damage from it in the logs, but there didn't seem like there was any visual for it. So I don't know if this is actually supposed to be a mechanic that people get on them and they're supposed to spread out, or how this is exactly supposed to work, or if it's working correctly, or if it was bugged on PTR. So when the boss goes live, I'll definitely be checking for maybe the first kills of what maybe this ability does. So in phase one, want to make sure that we're playing within the field that we have currently. This will continue to expand, but you do not want to go forward or backward of the current zone, as you'll take large damage. So going into the basic mechanics of the fight, DPS and healers will be targeted with an AoE circle, and this will be something that they want to take to the sides. It's pretty much like the first boss of the Sarkareth raid, Aberrus, and I think that the players would want to stack to the front of the raid first and then slowly just keep stacking them backwards. The tanks will have a large AoE circle that will does fall off damage with the farther that they are. There's 2 times that it happens, so it's a taunt swap, and I think you would just have one tank go to back left, one tank go to back right, and then the overall consensus of the fight for your playing field here is you're trying to keep this middle area clean. You don't want any debuffs on the sides, you don't want any of the big tank circles, you want to keep the middle area clean. One of the other big parts of this fight is that Eradicating salvo. This will be your big white mechanic, most likely on Mythic. Players are targeted with an AoE circle that needs to be soaked with the group twice. Once soaked players are knocked up and away from the targeted player, the salvo player, and after 2 seconds of the first soak, the second soak needs to happen. Split this as an evens odds or as a melee range for soak and place this behind the boss. I do have a strategy for Mythic when there's a little bit less people, and it's a little bit more difficult on Mythic, but if you have like a 25-man raid, this should just be pretty basic and pretty simple just to split it, as it needs a minimum of 5. Once we get into intermission, the boss will phase, and it's around the 2-minute mark. He will push everybody back. It's a very strong pushback towards your star area, and he will open up the next platform. This is a great time for gateway movement or group movement at all. And then you'll use your Reshi wraps as an extra action button to safely pass through an arcane wall. So he's going to send an arcane wall through, and then as soon as it gets to you at one point, you'll Reshi wrap through it. You'll take a reduced damage from the arcane wall, and then you'll be able to safely pass through. Each of these are cutter lines. They circle around, and these are area denial spots. If you try to walk into them, you'll take big damage and bounce backwards. So it should have a clear path that you'll get through, but this is a good spot also for gateway if they line up something like this, which I did see on some testing, but it was kind of random. But gateway could get through this, to say. But you get in front of the boss ASAP, break his shield, and that'll stop the phase. And then after that intermission, it's just a rinse and repeat until the boss dies. So pretty straightforward on heroic and normal. When we look at mythic here, there is just a few changes. There is an arcane wall that happens in phase 1 now, so the same one that happens in intermission, it now happens on mythic in the first phase. So you'll see it coming down the line, and this is before he's phased at all, and then randomly you'll have to use your Reshi wraps in the first phase to get through. So that is one change you'll get through there. Pretty simple. The 2 arcane adds, they have 122 mil HP each on the PTR. I think that's very low. I think they'll probably get buffed. So I do expect that to get raised up a little bit. It was really a non-mechanic, so I do expect them double or even more than that to make it a little bit more difficult. Most of the people just ran right past them and just dotted them up and ignored them. The salvos soak a little bit more difficult on Mythic. 4 players get the debuff to run these off to the side when the person that gets the soak to do it. And so what I think a really good strategy to would be is just make sure that your tanks and your healers don't soak the first one. They'll always soak the second one. And then you can always have people double soak. You don't get a debuff and you don't get any extra damage for soaking twice. So warlocks could place their demonic circles underneath the soak, and they would be able to soak twice. Monks, Transcendence, Dracthyrs could go back in just with gliding, I think Demon Hunters actually could too as well, not thinking about it. And DKs with their ability that doesn't displace them on movement. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. But those players could all double soaks, and that'll be the biggest reason. If 5 people don't soak, you'll pretty much instantly wipe. So you just want to make sure that keeping those healers out, 4 healers out and 2 tanks, always soaking in the next one. If a healer, if 2 healers even get the debuff, you'll still have enough people to soak, basically. And then you have all the backups that'll double soak. So I think that's a really good, probably, strategy for Mythic. So to finish this off, we'll just go into a little bit of a normal kill here. I won't watch the full thing, but we can just stop and look at some of the abilities real quick. And so start off the boss. You'll see right away the circle that people need to take out to the corners right here. And I think taking these towards the front would be the best, and then just lining them down. As you can see, they kind of place them wherever. It's normal, doesn't really matter. Next is a tank debuff, as you can see. He puts that in the corner, it's fine, fall off damage. Here is the tank soak, or the group soak. So kind of hard to see the POV here, but he's actually going to die because nobody gets into it. But this happens the first time, knocks everybody away, and then it has to be soaked again 2 seconds later. So he dies. There's no additional soak because he died, so just res him up. Maybe that's the new strat. Just die with it every time. Yeah, I run mine off to the corner, drop it off, and then everybody's going to get pushed back. DK good here again. It can ignore the ability, and then that's the arcane wall right here that you'll use your Reshi Wraps for. So I use mine not in a great way. Should have used it after, but again, just normal. But normal and our heroic and mythic, you'll want to use it for your Reshi Wraps for this wall right here and to get through it. So get up here. Here's the area denial beams and the cutters, and you just dodge them. Come up and break the shield, and it's rinse and repeat. And so we'll show that, and that's pretty much it. That's the whole fight. And now you can see you can still play in the backside up here. You have more room to go, and you still don't want to cross that line. So that is the fight. Hopefully this guide helps you and gives you a little bit of information for your raiders before the patch comes out. Thanks, and have a good one.